Hello and welcome back to the podcast. We have a lot of things we need to talk about today, but first, let's start with a good old weekend recap. Honestly, this weekend I feel was kind of wholesome yet again.
Was it?
Yes, because we have been meaning to clean our basement. You know, it was one of those things in like the spring where I was like, we're going to clean, we're going to do everything. Well, that part just never happened.
You did have a wedding.
I know.
So that did take up some time.
Perhaps. And also, I feel like the basement actually became like a catch-all for all things wedding and hosting. And it kind of just became the whole basement was a storage room. And so we were really dreading going through and organizing all of that, but we finally did it this weekend. And to be fair, I think the only reason I got Evan to commit to doing it,
I know what you're going to say. I'm scared.
he wanted to hang his deer head in the basement.
I heard rumblings of this.
And I literally told him, I'm like, the only way is if everything is clean and put away, and then we can decide where that's going.
And where did it go?
It's in the corner by the bar. It's kind of in the back, so you don't see it like right when you walk down.
I love that it's not like taking over the whole space.
To him it is. To him, that was critical. It's a staple piece. It's a staple piece of decor down there now. And actually, we had my family over to watch the Lions game, and Evan insisted that we watched it in the basement.
Because of I was going to say, are we going to have more gatherings in the basement these days?
I'm down because it's finally clean.
Right.
He's down because he wants to show everyone his deer head. But he'll deny it if you say that, so.
I mean, props to you for being so supportive of his endeavors.
I told him, I was like, as somebody who's, I would like to say, an interior designer.
I would agree.
That's not my proudest moment of design down there, but it had to happen.
Right.
And at some point, I will try in a more designer-esque way to incorporate it into the space, but for now, I just had to let him have that moment.
And he had his moment. He had his time to shine, and
that's all we really could do.
It's the beauty of it all.
But I will say, having everyone over for the game, it really showed that it was a late game because we talked about this. Dude, I think everybody left like right after halftime. It was like 10:30, almost 11.
It was a late game. We're not used to these prime times.
We're not cut out for that.
Honestly, and I've seen people say this online as well, I kind of missed the 1 p.m. kickoff because I went downtown and Brian and I, kind of by accident, we had no real plan for the day. We started off at a friend's house, went to a friend's tailgate. They were all leaving to go to the game. We didn't have tickets to the game. So then we went to another friend's tailgate because they had bopped over to the first tailgate. So now we're at tailgate number 2. And then Brian goes, oh, my cousin's having a tailgate. We go to tailgate number 3. And then we went to dinner downtown and watched the start of the game. And let me tell you, I'm not cut out for watching the game in public because the restaurant was not very crowded. I think most people were either at a tailgate or at the physical game. So there was like a small, intimate group of people watching this game, and everyone was into it. But I did not like the fact that everyone could hear my reactions to each of the plays.
Yeah, I feel like I don't react out loud. I react in texting to you specifically.
That as well.
I'm not a screamer at the TV-er.
Oh, I can be. And you've seen that side of me.
I have. I really don't do it. Honestly, this is so ridiculous. This is such a dog mom thing to say, but the dogs get so scared when we yell at the TV. No, like genuinely,
they don't understand.
They don't understand, and they think they're in trouble or something. Like I don't even yell at them, but like for some reason they just get so alarmed when I yell at the TV.
Don't know what's going on.
Like, what is this? Is something happening? Oh. So I don't do it, and then when Evan does, I'm like, hey,
watch
the dogs. so then I guess I yell at him. But yeah, I'm not a screamer at the TV. I just text you live action.
That's my favorite part,
updates.
I think, of every Lions game is our live action updates because they are seemingly gibberish.
If somebody read these messages that weren't us, I mean, this is why
They
we're
would not
not
understand.
This is why we're not announcers.
No,
you know
truly,
what I mean?
because our reaction, and that's why I felt weird with my verbal reactions in public, because like my reactions are mine, and that's just the facts of life.
What's the one thing you say? Like not shoot,
Oh,
but like
wait,
something ridiculous.
Schmoodles badoodles.
Schmoodles
And
badoodles.
then I say schmoodles badoodles, but also it's gotten shortened now to where I say schmoots badoots. And so that comes out.
That's perhaps worse.
It's way worse. That didn't come out. Thank God.
And I actually forgot to talk to you about this, but did you see that Tom Brady's announcing now? He got like a $350 million announcing contract, and everyone was ripping him to shreds.
Wait, they don't want him announcing?
No, I think the consensus was that he wasn't like adding enough, but genuinely I feel like, okay, this is his first time doing this.
Give
like
him
it's
a break.
gonna take time for him to warm up and get comfortable. If you watch our first podcast,
Don't.
You know what I mean?
Don't.
Simply avoid it, because it's not the same. Like, you have to give yourself time to warm up. So I think that's just where he's at right now.
Right.
And then also I think that people were saying he was like overly analytical, like more like the commentary wasn't in
fun.
Layman's terms. It was like really specific, I guess.
I see. So it wasn't in terms to where the average person could understand what he was saying. He was being very specific. This is where you need somebody like us, the common folk.
Except perhaps not, because also the things we say for commentary may not translate to the general audience.
No.
But anyways, that's what was going on. Yeah, and I was also really laughing hard because if you guys remember when we were talking last season, we really harshly criticized overtime rules in football because
we did.
It's basically whoever gets the ball first really has the upper hand. Like, once one touchdown is scored, that's it. And so whoever gets the ball first has the better chances. And we really harshly criticized it. But then, you know, we saw the rule work in real time.
Right. And now we've thought differently of said rule.
And we think differently because the Lions won in overtime, because Jared Goff got the coin toss. And, you know, we start to appreciate the rule a little bit more.
You know what? We could understand the rule for what it was and what it could be. And when we saw that in action, we said,
that's fair.
Yes, queen. That was the rule. So obviously, we are the winners.
Rules are rules.
And that's final.
Also, Taylor did attend the Chief games, which we called last week. And yeah.
She was stunting.
What?
She was stunting.
I don't know if, I don't think I watched that.
Oh, you didn't watch the first game of the football season?
Okay. That was on Thursday, right?
Yeah, that was Thursday.
So I did, but like in bits and pieces.
I see.
And truly, I will say this, not in a negative way, but I will say that every time I did glimpse at the TV, it was her. So that's how I was able to confirm
that she was there. Well, I have something to say in response. So I am a part of a forum that is called Social Swifties. It's a Slack channel where I work.
Okay.
I was like, that paints a more context. I'm not on Reddit or anything.
I was actually getting worried. I'm like, I don't know you. You have a double life.
I've never been on Reddit.
Really talk after this.
Never been on Reddit in my life. Don't know her. Don't want to know her. But I do know the Social Swifty Slack channel at my place of work. And in that Slack channel, one of the members did say that they made a friendly bet with a friend, family. Doesn't seem like a friend or family based on what they were saying. That the friend or family said Taylor would be shown on the screen upwards of 13 plus times. And she said, no, I'm voting or betting that she will be shown less than 5 times. And she won the bet. I guess she was shown 4 times throughout the game and once during a recap. So you were just tuning in at prime time.
Yeah, I think it was because anytime I looked, it was like right after the commercial came off.
And then it was a highlight.
Yeah, so that's why I caught glimpses of it. But yeah, everyone can still remain calm. It's okay that she's there.
We'll all get on with our lives. We'll still see Patrick Mahomes.
We will still see it all.
The Chiefs.
And another thing I did notice, though, I saw some players
Were the Guardian
wearing Guardian caps in play.
I didn't notice.
So I only saw this actually after the fact. Somebody did like a highlights of players wearing Guardian caps. And so honestly, though, I will say that if I didn't see that and it wasn't pointed out, I would not have been able to tell the difference because on TV, they honestly looked the exact same. They design it. They design it literally to be the same helmet that the team is wearing at the time. So you really could not tell. There was a little bit of drama with the 49ers not reporting McCaffrey being out until an hour before the game. And then the player that replaced him ended up saying like, oh, well, I knew this on Friday.
Was not good.
Not good. He kind of spilled the tea on that one.
He really spilled the tea on himself and the team.
There's no indication of investigation from the NFL after that.
Which is insane because so many other teams in the past have been fined before this, but I know the 49ers coach did respond to this and was basically saying like, oh, I think he was mentioning like one of the assistant coaches may have just told him, oh, be ready, got him hyped up a little bit, but didn't confirm he was going to be in the game.
So like in his head, he was told he was playing, but he really wasn't straight told.
I think their coach was just trying to save their asses as like a cover up. Like, oh, no. That's not what happened. He got a heads up, but it wasn't confirmed until
an hour before
the game, which I don't think is true, but it worked out for me because
Fantasy football,
the team that I was playing this week had McCaffrey, so they had to switch up last minute, but I was going to beat him anyways. My team's looking good. I don't think I got to update everyone. Didn't get my dream team. St. Brown, gone. Travis Kelce, gone. I know. It was really tough for me.
We didn't hear about this.
No, we didn't, but I did get Joe Burrow as my quarterback, which I was happy about.
That was a big one for you.
That was a really big one for me. I got Detroit's defense because this might be news because you don't frequent the fantasy football. You get to pick a whole team's defense. So
that's nice. No, I didn't know that.
That made me feel better about not getting a Lions like offensive player.
So you weren't like totally like fake.
Right. I have the whole defense behind me.
You have integrity in your fantasy football league.
I feel okay going into the season. I plan to dominate my league. So I'm 1-0 currently.
Nice. Another update regarding football that we mentioned, we predicted inaccurately last week that perhaps Taylor Swift would do the Super Bowl. And then literally, I think after the episode came out, it was announced that Kendrick Lamar is actually doing the halftime performance. But we still kind of have hope that maybe Taylor Swift will still be involved because if anyone remembers, he was in her Bad Blood music video.
He sure was.
And they have a long public history of supporting each other.
And friendship?
Yes, and friendship. In public, like saying positive things about each other in interviews and stuff. So there's a chance
that he could bring her out.
That maybe she comes out, does a little performance.
And we would all be happy. We would all clap. We would all cheer. And it would be a big moment for those that are Swifties and those that are not. So,
but we'll have a little bit of time before we get confirmation on that. But something I just learned that's happening, and like arguably really soon, Apple's launching a bunch of new products with AI. So they're launching the new iPhone 16, and pre-orders begin literally today that the episode's out. And then they'll actually start getting them on September 20th. And it's about to have so many new AI features. And I don't know how I feel about it.
I haven't heard all of them yet.
But it's going to be, it's going to be interesting. So one thing they're doing is camera control. So it's going to be a new camera, and it's going to have all these features where basically you can quickly launch the camera, I'm assuming by voice.
I did see this feature on TikTok. I think possibly by voice, but I know there's a way on the side of your phone where you can click a button and the camera just opens. It was interesting the way they kept holding the phone as a camera because they kept holding it horizontal rather than vertical. So I wonder if they're trying to bring back people taking photos as if as if it was a camera.
Interesting. I didn't see any videos, but I know they're doing that. So you'll be able to quickly launch the camera, take a photo, and start a video recording very easily. And then it also will like automatically help you adjust the frame and shot, like zoom, exposure, depth of field. And then they're going to also bring these features to third-party apps like Snapchat.
No way.
So that you can do all those things there. And then apparently another feature, which I know now you can use the camera to search things, like what things are. Like if you click on info, right, it will tell you. But supposedly if you click and hold the camera control, it will pull up like hours or ratings of businesses that you just pass by.
No way.
And give you like their information, or like dog breeds if you're just passing by and you want to know what it is.
Shut up. That is probably the best feature. You know how many cute dogs I've seen on the streets that I want to know, okay, what's the exact make and model of that dog? And you just never know because you don't always get a chance to ask.
Correct. I understand how that could be really tough, but now we're not going to have that issue.
Now that is an issue of the past.
And another thing they're doing, which this is where the AI comes in, so they're calling it Apple Intelligence.
Clever.
AI.
So clever.
It will be available also, though, as a free software update with the first few features rolling out next month. So I think people will be able to do it on their iPhones already.
Okay.
But some of the things it's going to be able to do, they're going to have writing tools built in so that you can rewrite, proofread, and summarize text everywhere. So like your emails, your notes app, your like anything where you type on your phone, it can rewrite, proofread, and like summarize things for you. It's mail, notes, pages, and third-party apps.
I mean, that is really exciting news. I don't know how we're still out here working a 50-hour work or 40-hour work week with this kind of technology. We're moving quick.
It really does not add up. And then also users can record, transcribe, and summarize audio. So you can record things and then it will do
Imagine
all that
having
for
that
you.
in college.
Yeah, for like lectures and things.
100%, just letting it record and then summarize what you heard verbally. That would be a game changer for me.
Yeah, I think a lot of people would have done probably better.
100%. Sometimes it's just like hard to retain that amount of information so quickly too. Like an hour lecture, if they're talking fast and those slides are moving fast, it was tough for me to retain everything that was going on. If I could record and summarize what I just heard and go through that, I probably would have digested information a little bit better.
Agreed. I definitely feel like this is going to change the way that students do things, which we've talked
100%.
a lot about in the past, but especially if it's just on your iPhone.
It's going to be so simple.
You don't need it on your computer or anything. And then also while using Siri and writing tools, which are like, you know, where the AI is going to be, you can also have it use and access Chat GPT. So while you're, you know, having it summarize your things, you can also ask it to, you know, ask Chat GPT to do this and write it. And I'm pretty sure it can do that too. So lots of new Apple updates coming very, very soon. And I also heard they're launching a few other products, like they're launching AirPods that also double as hearing aids.
I did hear about that. That's very cool.
Yeah, that's so, like, I had no clue that they were working on any of this. So
I feel like they do a very good job of keeping things very secretive until they do their annual presentation of products, if you will. I'm sure there's a formal name to it.
Like the Disney thing?
Yeah, like D23.
D23.
They don't do as good of job keeping things under wraps. I know things.
Of course. So I don't know how I feel about it. I'm still kind of unsure about all the AI, but some things that we're unsure about, and we haven't talked about since last season.
It's been a minute.
We need to talk about aliens and space travel.
It's tough times out there for both aliens and space travel.
Yeah. So the Starliner returned to the U.S., which was the whole point of the Starliner was to transport crew to and from the International Space Station and other like low Earth orbit destinations. And so they set out on June 5th and they took 2 astronauts up to the space station. But as soon as it left, they started having technical difficulties.
They should have turned that bitch around.
So they took it all the way up, and now those astronauts have been stuck up there. NASA will not say the word stuck or stranded.
But we all know what they mean.
Arguably, I would be panicking. So they've been up there since June 5th, and they were supposed to come back, I think, a week later, and it didn't end up working out. So now they just sent the Starliner back down to Earth without the astronauts on it.
Wait, so where are they now?
They're on the space station.
They gotta, what?
And so now the plan is that SpaceX is going to send a flight up to the space station and pick them up in February.
In what? In February? Why can't they get on this now?
I don't exactly, because I don't think that
it's safe
yet? Finished being built. So I don't know for sure if that's true.
So it's a tentative date, like a home. It could be a whole
Correct.
2 years later.
Correct. They don't have the exact date of when they're getting picked up. And this is what I was saying to Evan too. Like, imagine you, like, I know they couldn't really pack anything, but like, imagine you pack for a week trip and find out it's actually like 8 months.
I mean, luckily for me, I packed
you would have enough.
I would have enough.
Correct. Same. But
I don't think that that's how it works with NASA. I'd imagine that they have some kind of restrictions on how many things you can bring to space. But what about the food supply? What about...
And also, like, do they have entertainment? Like, do they have video games or something? Like, something to do?
I hope they have a Kindle up there, because that's a lot of spare time. I would go into a panic. I would absolutely be panicking at this point. My anxiety would be unconsolable at this point. I don't know how they're remaining calm. Maybe they're not. Maybe they're putting on a brave face.
I'm going to guess that if you're an astronaut and you're going into space, you kind of know that, like...
It's a possibility.
It's a possibility, but I still think that I would be really pissed because they sent the Starliner back and it safely landed and made the trip back, and they were supposed to be on it, but they didn't send them because it was, like, risky. So now they're up there.
Oh, I'd be...
And like, I would be like, wow, we could have been home, but like, now we're not.
Now we're here until February. Now we're missing the holidays with our families because we are here. Like, imagine, I'm not even going to say what I was about to say. That's the least of their worries what their Halloween costume's going to be.
They're probably going to be astronauts.
They're probably going to be astronauts because they can't go through with their initial plan.
If I had to guess, that's what their backup plan was.
Oh my gosh, I feel so bad for them.
Yeah, and
That's
well,
terrible.
also, the longer that you're in space, the more radiation you're exposed to, because after you get a certain level out of the atmosphere, you're exposed to radiation. And so, like, the longer they're there, the more exposure they're getting, and so they can get radiation sickness, have a higher lifetime risk of cancer, all these different degenerative diseases that can happen from this exposure. And again, like, they obviously weren't really prepared for that.
Well, and I'm assuming at this point suing NASA is out of the question.
I'm going to guess they probably had to sign, like, a lot.
Agreements.
Yeah.
That, like, we are putting our life at risk to be a part of this.
It's a very sketchy situation. I think anything with space is, and I kind of always felt that way. Like, if someone was like, oh, the first people can ever... go to Mars.
I'm
like,
not going.
Right.
I don't care how many times they go. I'm not going. Yeah. I mean, I say that now, but I worry what could go wrong on a plane or
that was my also thought. Like, I don't think any circumstance would put me on a space shuttle.
There's just no need. It seems unnecessary for me to have to explore the next frontier. I'm fine here.
Yes.
On Earth.
Yeah, I agree with that. And another thing that happened to them, so they started hearing a pulsing noise.
Shut up.
Up in the space station.
I didn't know about this.
And I literally heard the audio because it was literally picked up in the NASA space station as well. Like they could hear what they were hearing.
What did the space station think?
To me, it sounded like alien.
What were they saying?
Nothing. It was
you
like.
Couldn't make out what they were saying?
It sounded like a pulsing noise, like a tapping.
Like
a heartbeat.
No. You know what it probably was? Morse code. They probably knew that at one point that's what we were using and they were trying to communicate with us.
Who?
The aliens.
Oh, I thought you meant the astronauts, like secretly being like,
"Oh no,
get us out of here! NASA's not taking us out."
SOS.
No,
no, I mean like the aliens. They might not have some indication of who we are. Maybe they discovered that we once and maybe think we currently use Morse code. So they are trying to be like.
That was my immediate thought was aliens. Are you doing it to?
I'm doing it to the
audience. Sorry about that for anyone's ears, but it sounded so creepy. And I did just see the new Alien Romulus movie that came out.
Why?
Well, because honestly, I don't know. Me and Evan had like a alien movie marathon, and we watched like Alien vs. Terminator or something like that. I can't even remember what the names are, but they're really old movies and there's like a bunch. So we started watching them and then we're like, we should go see the new one. So we went and saw the new one.
How was it?
Kind of scary.
Oh, not something I should see, probably.
No, especially if this stuff freaks you out. Like, yeah. I'm pretty positive there's an alien infestation in the tubes of the ISS and like they're gonna come out. I don't know. But also, in the new Alien movie at the end, there was this big, giant, like, human alien thing. And
a human or an alien? Or it was
a combination.
A combination. So we interbred with them.
Yes.
Great.
And I just saw on TikTok a video of this couple that went hiking and they were taking pictures. And when they got home, in the background of their picture, I swear to God, the alien from the movie was climbing the mountain in the background.
Where were they hiking?
I want to say Colorado.
Shut up. Well, I'm going somewhere soon where hiking could be involved, and I'm not a fan of hiking.
Take lots of pictures and then look at them later. Like once you're already
not
done.
In real time.
Not in real time.
No, like hiking's definitely not my hobby. I met somebody today that went where I was going and said, bring your hiking shoes. And I was like, I don't think you know who you're talking to, because if Brian and I go on a hike, it's going to be like.
Yeah, don't go on like a hard one. You can Google the hikes and then like they'll rate them for you.
Like we need like something that's like an hour-ish.
Don't like fall down any mountains.
I don't want to fall down a mountain. I would prefer to just
stay on flat
paths.
Yeah, that'd be my advice. Bring like, maybe like bear spray or something.
Yeah. Oh my God.
I don't know.
We hiked when we were little once. I remember this distinctly. Yeah, we did in like California or something crazy. It wasn't like a real hike. It was probably like a little trail. And I saw a snake. Do you remember this?
No.
We were by a beach, I think.
No.
You were there.
I think so, but I don't really remember. I do remember like going around on Catalina Island like a really long time ago.
Is that in California?
Yeah, it's in California, but it's an island and you take like a little ferry there. And then
Is that where we were? I just remember the snake.
We didn't walk, I'll tell you that much.
I know we walked a trail at some point. It couldn't have been a hike, but it was a trail. And I think it was in California.
Just been casually we were walking and you saw a snake and that was a hike to you.
Mm-hmm.
Immediately if you see an animal, like it turns into not a walk, it's a
hike.
No, that could add up. Well, hopefully you don't encounter any aliens and those stay in the mountains.
Stay far
Colorado.
away. I am all about them doing whatever they need to do as long as we're not interacting.
Okay.
And they're not photobombing. My pictures could just scare me.
That's fair.
And that's just the facts.
Well, interesting. Let's keep them in Colorado. But let's actually talk about what's been going on in NYC, good old New York. It's Fashion Week, or it was Fashion Week.
Let's go.
Lots of celebrities are out and about.
Roaming the streets.
Also, we're going to do a New York Fashion Week and a Toronto International Film Festival fashion review in the Patreon bonus content. So if you want to see us go over the looks, go there. But yeah, lots of celebrities are out and about. And one thing that made some, I'm going to say news, but it was like really big TikTok news, was Tiffany Haddish crashing the Monse fashion runway. And did you see this?
I didn't. I really didn't.
Really? So she was sitting by Nikki Hilton, Paris Hilton, and Kathy Hilton.
Okay.
So Kathy Hilton, there's videos of her telling Tiffany, like, get up and walk the runway. Like, get up and do it. Like, basically, like, double dog daring her, like, telling her to do it. And so she does. And, you know, in the past, we've talked about, like, random people or, like, animal rights groups or like if someone has fur, like crashing runways, but I don't know that I've ever seen a celebrity do it.
No, I don't believe I've either. The Ariana Grande impersonator crashed, I want to say.
I don't think she crashed.
Oh no, she was just a part of it. She was just a part of it. So no, we have not encountered this in our time.
Yeah, not that I've known of. And so she did it, and then I did see a video of her talking to the designers, the two designers of the Monse show.
Did she say she was sorry?
Not in the video. She was kind of just telling them what happened and saying, like, I hope you invite me back and blah, blah, blah. And they just, like, cut the conversation. Like, at first they were kind of going with her and talking, but then, like, as she kept talking and saying, like, I hope I get invited back, whatever, they just like were like, we're done. Like, they started walking away, and she was like, no, like, she was still trying to talk to them, and they just walked out of the video.
She's not getting an invite.
Yeah. And so people were kind of pissed about this because they were like, Nikki Hilton, Paris Hilton, and Kathy Hilton have been going to these shows forever, since they were kids, and so like they know all the etiquette and the rules, and like, you don't do that, it's not funny, you know, whatever. And like, so encouraging her to do it, they were just kind of being mean girls. Maybe. Some people felt that way, and then some people were saying maybe it was all a publicity thing and this
was really planned.
Yeah, and like really it was a pre-planned thing. I mean, don't know enough about it to like fully get it. From what I saw, it didn't seem pre-planned, but then again, like, what are the chances that Tiffany Haddish got an interview or like a video with the designers right after?
Yeah, it all kind of played out a little too perfectly. Interesting. So very interesting. I'm not
totally sure.
Even if it wasn't a PR thing, I'm sure it'll turn into a PR thing for the next New York Fashion Week, and somebody will have Tiffany Haddish crash their show, but it'll be pre-planned.
Yeah.
If this one wasn't pre-planned.
I think so too. I think like as much as people are like, the designers are probably so mad or whatever, it did probably talking. Yeah, it did get people talking. And what do they say? No press is bad press.
Something like that.
We'll see. I did see though that Usher was at New York Fashion Week.
Woo!
And I really felt the need to bring this up because I'm seeing Usher this weekend.
You are.
I'm so excited. It's his past, present, and future show. And honestly, I've been looking forward to this since I heard he was coming here. And I'm just really excited. So, but apparently, in case you miss it, because
I might have.
Brittany wasn't interested.
Oh.
What? Go ahead.
I was invited to come to see Usher.
She was.
Let the record state that I said I was okay without attending.
It's so crazy to me.
That's on me. It's so crazy.
It's just so unrelatable to me. But apparently he's putting out a concert movie called Rendezvous in Paris.
Ooh.
And it's in theaters the 12th to the 15th. So this weekend. And it's going to be incorporating the essence of his landmark cultural phenomenon Vegas residency, but into a French touch because they filmed it in Paris. So it's kind of like a glimpse into his shows. And yeah, I guess it's only for this weekend.
Shoot.
I know. And I had not heard about it. So,
I mean, exciting. Maybe
So you could go to that
I'll go to the movies. I am known to like to go to the movies, so.
And you could get pretzel nuggets.
I could get pretzel nuggets. I've been craving them lately.
I know.
How did you know?
Because I sent you that thing.
Oh my
and you were like, we need to go get this.
That is news.
That is news. because what was it? Auntie Anne's put out
Auntie
that like
Anne's.
pretzel cup thing.
And we don't know if it's real or not yet because I looked on their website and it wasn't on their website. I just need to go into a store.
Just go in person.
I might do that tomorrow.
I'm not gonna stop.
I'll report back. I'll go for the good of the podcast. Stop trying to convince me that I have to go. I will go for the good of people.
It's investigative journalism.
Investigative journalism. I'll film it all. I'll let you all know what I find. And if it's the goodness that is, it's literally a drink with a bowl on top of it of pretzels.
It's kind of like, if you haven't seen the Stanleys have the little snack.
Oh my gosh, that's such a good comparison.
Cup you can put around it. So Auntie Anne's basically put out a snack cup that goes around their fountain drinks with the pretzels in it with like a little dipping sauce holder. Arguably, that's more top notch than a Stanley holder because it has a sauce compartment.
I mean, it sounds
so important.
It sounds incredible.
And
I'm gonna find out for everyone. I'll report back. You know what else I once heard? That Auntie Anne's was gonna start coming out, and they might exist somewhere, coming out with like not pop up, but drive-through locations. So outside of your local mall.
I hope they never do because I fear we'd be in there.
We would be.
It's crazy to think though, like think about a business that literally just sells pretzels. Like their profit margins are gotta be through the roof. You sell pretzel nuggets that arguably most bar restaurants also sell, but like that's your whole business.
But they do it.
That's so
better.
genius.
It is.
It's genius.
It really is, and I admire.
How did we
the
get
work
to
they
this?
do?
Movies.
Correct.
I
don't know.
Wow, we're really doing something this episode. Okay, let's get back. Also in New York this week was the VMAs. But unfortunately, they took place after the recording of this episode. So we're going to talk about it next week more in depth. But something I didn't realize that this year's show marks the 40 years for the VMAs and the hip hop label Def Jam. And so they're having a lot of people that were originally like iconic stars from Def Jam perform. There's going to be a lot of cool things going on for this year's VMAs. So we're going to get into it next episode. But another show that was announced this past week was Dancing with the Stars. Mm-hmm. I've got to be honest. I've never really been into it.
Oh, really?
As far as watching it, no.
I used to be growing up. I really loved Dancing with the Stars.
Because you were just such a dancer.
I was such a dancer girl. So it was a part of my personality to watch Dancing with the Stars and So You Think You Can Dance. And those are my programs.
I feel like So You Think You Can Dance, I watched more when we were younger because I danced, so I wanted to watch.
And it was a cool show to watch at the time.
I don't think Dancing with the Stars was one of them.
Oh, well, do you know, they used to have Skating with the Stars too, where people would ice skate with celebrities. Do you remember that?
No, and in my mind, I was just picturing like roller skating.
Oh no, ice skating.
I would
unless
argue,
I dreamed that was real.
I would argue that roller skating with the stars would be sick.
That would be sick. ABC, if you're listening, great idea for you just out in the open. I have not watched full seasons. I've watched episodes and I follow. This sounds very weird, but I also do this with The Bachelor, Bachelorette. I follow what is happening week by week on TikTok. So I typically know or have a good idea of what's going on and see some of the dances without watching the full episodes.
I feel like that's something that will probably be forced upon me as the season
unfolds.
Will be.
It's going to be
on TikTok.
It's getting more and more popular. I think the cast of Dancing with the Stars, specifically the professionals, I think they call them the professional dancers. They're really playing into TikTok now.
I agree. I was going to say, I immediately, like I said, I don't really watch it.
Right.
But as soon as they started announcing the cast and for this season, immediately I was pushed like all the PR they're doing and all of the TikToks from their practices.
And they're so fun to watch. I do follow Riley, who is one of the dancers. She's paired with the Pamela, the horse guy. I don't know what the proper term is. He was the Olympic athlete that everyone compared to Superman.
Steven.
Yes.
I don't know how to pronounce it, but I'm gonna give it a try. Nedorosik with Riley Arnold.
Yes. He was the specialist at the Olympics.
Yes, he did the horse thing. And I remember,
I can't say that word correctly, and that's what's
fell
really
in love with him when he was doing that. So,
and his partner is just like she just seems like the sweetest, most adorable, best. But she was the girl.
So are you going to be watching?
I kind of want to watch for them because I'm really rooting for her and him. Because don't you remember all the drama last year with her and Harry Jowsey?
Yes and no. I didn't watch, but I got pushed to that part of it.
Some of the content.
I feel like that happens a lot when people go on Dancing with the Stars. And maybe that's why I don't get that interested in it, because I feel like it's the same thing where, like, people try to create this narrative with certain, like, partners
they try to ship them
every season, and it's just like, they're dancing, relax.
Yeah.
But I kind of want to be pushed a few things this season because I'm interested to see how it plays out, because one of the big dramas or controversies that Anna Delvey is in as a star, and she's literally wearing an ankle monitor from ICE because she's been in trouble with the law since she's been here. And so a lot of people were not happy about that, and she's in the middle of like fighting a deportation case, so she had to get permission from ICE to do the show.
I mean, I have a question for you. Do you think they tried to get Gypsy Rose first?
I don't know. I mean, Gypsy Rose is pregnant, so maybe that's why she didn't do it.
That's true.
But
I keep forgetting about that. That is true.
Yeah. I fear she will be on a season at some point.
I think so too, because when I saw this, I was like, Gypsy Rose is next, or was supposed to be here. But you prove a good point. Maybe that's why she wasn't on this season.
Yeah, so I wouldn't write her out just yet. I feel like at some point she will do it. It would have been good timing for the way things were going with her, like in the media, to be on it now. I was kind of shocked about the Anna Delvey thing because I also feel like that kind of died down a little bit.
I thought so too.
But now it's like the biggest thing that everyone's talking about, and my guess is that it's because the ankle monitor thing, and people just
that really can't fathom
that. But she did respond and said, "I served my time and paid everyone back in full 3+ years ago, because if you remember, in 2017 she allegedly posed as a German heiress and scammed thousands of dollars from New York elites to fund her luxurious lifestyle. She was released on parole in 2021, but then was detained by ICE for possible deportation. But now ICE is saying, not only can you stay for now, but you can go do the show." So
that's pretty wild.
We shall see what happens. And yeah, I mean, I definitely am going to keep up with the TikToks at least. So we'll
100%.
have some updates. And finally, another show that really, really, really is just taking over TikTok, causing lots of drama this week. The Secret Life of Mormon Wives.
That it is.
And you guys, we said last week, we needed to do our homework. We needed to start watching these shows. And I did watch the first few episodes of the show.
And I did watch 3/4 of the first episode.
That's crazy. Brittany came in with it playing on her laptop. So
I watched as much as I could.
I will say she was committed to the homework. But I don't even know if I needed to be honest.
There was so much of it on TikTok.
I think I watched the whole season on TikTok.
As you probably could at this point in time. I feel like it's all out there and it's causing more drama and just more content for season 2 for them. I would imagine that this is going to be renewed because it's been such a hot commodity. And it's only been out for what, a week?
Well, yeah. So if you guys are unaware of we've talked about a little bit of mom talk, which it's so funny that they call it mom talk, which I'm guessing is Mormon talk. I think it's supposed to be like short for Mormon talk. I don't know, because otherwise mom talk is just moms on TikTok, and there's a lot of different moms on TikTok.
It was interesting for me to, when they were, in the first episode, they're really kind of laying the foundation of what's going on, and Taylor Frankie Paul states many times, I created mom talk. And in my head, I was like, I feel like there's a lot of like mom talk is more broad than just their group of friends. I feel like a lot of moms on TikTok would be called mom talk, but maybe I'm wrong. So maybe you're right that it's
like a shortened version of Mormon.
I don't know,
talk.
maybe.
I don't know. That's how I took it because again, mom talk could be any moms on TikTok.
Right, which is there's a lot of there's a lot of different mom TikTok
But it all
content.
started, which this is funny because I think we just said mom talk 1,000 times, but in the first episode, they said it so many times, I couldn't even believe what I was hearing.
If you were playing a drinking game and it was like drink every time they said mom talk.
We could do that right now. Drink every time we say it.
And it would be not good.
It's a Friday if you're watching this when it comes out, so get crazy. So, yeah, so I watched the first couple episodes. What always blows my mind is, like, I try to remember while I'm watching that, like, they're not supposed to drink, smoke, have coffee, like, do all these things that most people do every single day.
They were doing all of that within the first 30 minutes of the first episode. And not only were they doing that,
but arguably worse. And so I was just like, that's what they're worried about, but, like, this is what they're actually doing. But I also felt like a lot of it was very, like, high school conversations.
No, it was interesting. Obviously, I'm very fresh into the first episode, but when I called you and was telling you, like, yeah, I'm watching this, I feel like I just watched a scene from I'm 16 and Pregnant on MTV, just in the way that some of the conversations were being handled. I didn't expect, and I don't know if that's from being in front of a camera for the first time and having cameras in your home, that they're not acting as they normally would.
Yeah, I did feel like a lot of it was overly produced in a way of like, because first episode, I mean, like, it was coming in hot. Like,
everything
to just immediately sit down and be like, yeah, I need to take a pregnancy test tonight. And then, like, the mom's reaction.
That's the exact scene I was referring to, was 16 and Pregnant. And that was, she was like, I can't talk to you, and then got up and walked away. And there was a couple scenes where it was like you weren't even easing into the situation, which I guess is good for our, like, TV, but it was like, let's talk about this. And then all of a sudden they were talking about that as if, like, a lot of it seemed like a confessional conversation where a producer would be feeding the question, because they would state their question and then go into the conversation.
I know what you mean. That's exactly how a lot of scenes felt. Like, in a normal conversation day to day, you're not just going to sit down. If we organically start talking about a topic, fine. But we don't sit down with each other when you walk in and say, you know what? Let's talk about this. We just start talking about it. You know what I mean?
No, we do. We really do. Just start talking about
we just go straight for it. And, like,
yeah. We don't need to, like, preface what we're going to talk about. And maybe, I don't know.
It's with a lot of reality TV, but I feel like that one just hit you, like, right in the face because it was such dramatic topics every time.
It was, and it was like, it was heavy shifts from topic to topic because there was so much ground to cover that I was like, oh, and I didn't know if it was because I don't really watch a ton of, like, I almost said Desperate Housewives, but the Housewives or Bravo shows, I've kind of navigated away from those in terms of the reality TV that I consume. So I was like, maybe this is just how this type of reality TV is. I'm like, no, it's not. This is wild.
No, it did remind me a little bit. I don't know if you've ever watched Selling Sunset.
I haven't, but my mom's been binge watching the new season.
I didn't start the new one. Clips. But it does remind me a little bit of that, like, more straight to the point with conversations. It's like every time they sit down,
something's
you know
happening.
What the point, what the drama they're addressing.
Is set. It's moving the plot forward, which I can respect because we're not getting a lot of fluff. So I guess for that, it's
good.
Keeps it juicy, but then
it felt a little overly produced, but I'm not going to lie, I'm eating it up. And everyone on TikTok is as well.
I'm going to finish the season.
It was the number one show within the first 24 hours on Hulu. It was the number one show. And I fear that season 2 will also do the same thing because now there's a bunch of drama, obviously outlasting the show that's coming out on TikTok, just the girls going back and forth that are in the group. And then there was a surprise mean girl that came out of it all.
I've seen all about the surprise mean girl.
Yeah, that's all I've been seeing too. And so now it's kind of creating the scene for like her to have her comeback moment.
Yeah.
And like expose everyone for what's been going on behind the scenes.
Yeah, her redemption arc in season 2.
Yeah. And so I don't know. It just honestly though, it always reminds me like reality shows, you never know the edit you're going to get.
You could act, you know, like a perfect angel, and they'll find a way to spin it.
So it's a little sketchy out there, but
stay safe.
Speaking of not knowing what you're going to get into, let's get into this week's Shady Stories. Starting with Shady Story number 1. One night, my friends convinced me to go, and I was getting ready to play beer pong, but I didn't have a teammate until this absolutely stunning girl that I've never seen before stands next to me ready to play. We play a game, and I felt a spark, but one of my lady friends had too much to drink, and I became the babysitter. That night, she threw up in my car, and I was turned off of drinking and partying, and it just didn't seem worth it. I missed out on getting the girl's number and was beating myself up. A few months later, I got invited to a Sweet 16, and I see the girl again. I wasted no time jumping into a conversation, and we hit it off. She gave me her number, and I texted her so she could have my number. But when I hit send, I noticed her phone didn't go off. I figured she'd given me a fake number, but I was determined to make the best of the night. I drove her home, and the next day I got a text. I hadn't met the girl from the first party, but her identical twin sister. Let's call them Amber and Sasha. I ended up dating Amber for 5 years, but around the 2-year mark, we hit a pretty intense rut. But one night she came over and said, no words, just us, and we had a passionate evening that till this day is the best I've ever had. The next morning, I was telling Amber how amazing our night was, and she was dead set that it must have been a dream because nothing happened. When I told Sasha, she also said it must have been a dream. Fast forward, I was going to ask Amber to marry me and asked Sasha to help me plan it. The day before I was going to ask, Amber broke up with me and said that it wasn't my fault, but something had happened and she can't continue the relationship. Years later, I found out through mutual friends that Sasha told Amber that I didn't dream about that night, that it actually happened, just not with Amber. Sasha was always very popular and wasn't ever the relationship type, but seeing me with her sister, she wanted what we had felt at the Sweet 16, and me and her should have started dating, and Amber wouldn't have had me without her being a wing woman. Amber ended things because the dream night I had been striving to get us to feel wasn't a dream after all, but was a reality that she had no hand to play in. Sasha was a playa, and me and Amber and I were left to pick up the pieces.
I love a playa reference.
Same. That's a season 1 reference.
That goes back to probably
the beginning,
the first episode.
When I first read this, I didn't understand what was happening. And then I reread it and I was like, wait a damn minute.
Wait a damn minute. Sasha's a fucking bitch.
She hooked up with her twin sisters.
That's awful.
Almost fiance, and ruined their relationship.
And then saved that information for a rainy day and decided she just held on to it and decided, now's my time. Now I'm going to sprinkle this and ruin everything. Why would you wait?
But also, like, I feel like as a twin sister, how do you do that to your twin sister?
I mean, that's terrible.
Not why did I say like I was one and like, hello?
Yeah, hello. I would never do that to my twin. No, but I can't imagine. I feel like from every twin that I've ever encountered, you have a very like strong bond and just like, it's a deeper, like you're past being brother and sister. Like you have a very special connection with your twin. So to be able to do that, that is
diabolical.
I would say diabolical.
What would you say?
I wouldn't say diabolical because I don't know how to pronounce words today.
You got it after the first try. Yeah, I can't believe this. This is actually alarming.
A Hallmark movie or a Lifetime movie. That's what this is like.
I think this could be too rated R for Lifetime.
Oh,
it's a bit much.
It's a bit much.
Arguably, I would say this is a 9 out of 10.
9 out of 10. This is pretty bad. Not good. Shady story number 2. As a little girl, I always wanted to punch someone, but never had a good enough excuse. Do not laugh at this. Oh, yo, you're good.
It's just so funny.
Okay.
How does that come out of your mouth? As a little girl, I always dreamed of punching someone.
I mean,
not like becoming a lawyer.
I wanted to punch someone.
I just always thought one day I'm gonna punch someone.
And so I did.
Did I write this in? No.
No, I knew you in 3rd grade. You wouldn't punch a fly. One day at recess in the 3rd grade. Shut up. I'm trying to be serious over here. Last week I did so good with reading my Shady stories, and here I am, cackling. Because she's miming words to me.
The peanut gallery has retired. Go ahead.
Okay. What? One day at recess in the 3rd grade, a bunch of kids were playing some kind of game where they chased each other and held each other hostage in the play structure. This was an innocent game and there was no real conflict. But when this one boy, let's call him Tommy, held my friend hostage in the play structure, I decided to use it as an excuse to haul off and whack the guy. I punched Tommy in the backbone, which I know is a super cowardly / shady move, and he started crying. Honestly, I knew it was wrong, but I really wanted to punch someone. He was the unlucky random person who got it. He ran towards the school building, and I was terrified that he would tell on me, but I was saved by the bell ringing, and for some reason, he didn't follow through with ratting me out. As the school years progressed, I never apologized for the incident. Tommy ended up moving to another high school in town. He also got into boxing, which I sometimes wonder if that choice had anything to do with randomly being punched by a girl in the 3rd grade and needing to defend himself. Anyway, Tommy started boxing competitively, and in some way, because he was knocked out so hard one time that he developed amnesia. I did not read this point in part of the story correctly. Sorry for the giggle. I had heard this through the small town grapevine because my mother knows everyone. In my 20s, I married a man who went to the same high school as Tommy that he attended, and when we were at his 10-year reunion when his 10-year reunion came around, I went with him. Who was at the bar? But Tommy. We sat and talked for quite a while, just me and him sitting there smiling and making small talk. Never addressed it to anyone that I'd punched this guy. And I could only get away with this shady behavior because he really didn't remember anything anyways. I proofread this story and I did not read the part where he got amnesia. I just thought that he had grown up, forgot that he got punched. I don't know. I feel like as kids, not everything sticks. Weird stories stick with you and some just fade away. So I thought they just
I'm telling you, everything about this story truly had me laughing, and it's not funny that he got amnesia, but
no, it's terrible.
It's funny that you put this in there not realizing that that's what it said.
And then I giggled when I said it.
But not because of that.
No, because I didn't know that it said this in the story.
I didn't even know anything about this, and as soon as you said, I always wanted to punch someone. I knew this story was going to take some crazy turns, because I think anyone who starts that way, it's gotta.
I mean, that is a hook if I ever heard one. This could win some kind of Pulitzer Prize.
I don't know. This is wild. I hope you worked through your punching issues, and I hope
she got it out of her system.
It just took one punch.
I mean, I too feel like it could be thrilling to punch someone, and I did try once. It didn't work out. Contact wasn't made that well.
Oh God.
You win some, you lose some, and I then took kickboxing classes for a couple years. Anyway, this is pretty good.
Did you write this story, or
I didn't write this story, but it did have a lot of parallels to my life. None of my ex-boyfriends have amnesia.
Dude, where are you going with this? I'm terrified.
This is
I will say this, you guys. I will say this. This is the last time Brittany picks the Shady story.
Oh my gosh, this was so good. That was a 10 out of 10.
But
say it in the comments. 10 out of 10. Shady story number 2 for the win.
It did give me a slight giggle, so it was a good one.
What would you rank it? Miss Peanut Gallery.
8 out of 10.
You were giggling half the time.
I know. That's why, like, on the scale of shadiness, I don't know, but
On the scale of giggles,
giggling.
10 out of 10.
Right. Okay, shady story number 3. One night after clubbing, me and my friends went back to my place to sleep. My good guy friend and his girlfriend slept in my bed with me, and we were all super close, so it was normal to just pass out wherever. I woke up in the middle of the night to find my guy friend spooning me and not his girlfriend, and so I proper woke up being really annoyed about it for his girlfriend, etc., and I hoped it was a mistake. I then realized that the bed was totally wet, and I quickly realized it was actually me who wet the bed. So I Houdini'd my way out of the room, changed my underwear and clothes, showered upstairs, and left no trace that I was ever in the room and went to sleep on the couch. The next morning, I heard them scream and kind of mutter, like, what the F do I do? My guy friend came out and apologized and said he's so sorry, but he thinks he wet the bed. And I played along and took the sheets off, etc., and we all made fun of him. This went on for months. Every time we went out drinking, we would say things like, no golden showers tonight. Months went past and we were still laughing about it, and it just felt like the joke was old, so was the right comedic timing to reveal I was in fact the perpetrator. He was like, I knew it. My underwear wasn't even wet, and it was a running joke for a long time. This is a harmless
prank, and you gotta do what you gotta do. I would have done the same damn thing. No one's accusing me of wetting the bed. And despite them having clean underwear, it was one of them.
That's just funny that they assumed it was the guy, even though there was 2 people in the bed. Neither of them had wet underwear, and they were just like, no, for sure,
it was you. I mean, good for him on like taking the fall for his girlfriend, because he could have been totally convinced that it was her if he knew his underwear were dry, and he just let everyone think it was him. So
that's a green flag.
A gentleman. Chivalry at its finest. However, he wasn't cuddling his girlfriend, so where were the intentions really?
Questionable.
Hard to say. Really hard to say.
If he was sleeping, he probably didn't even realize.
He probably didn't, so
He didn't realize he wet the bed, even though he didn't. So something tells me that everyone was really hammered.
Something tells me that there may have been alcohol involved.
Perhaps. I would say this is like a 6 out of 10. Harmless prank.
Harmless prank. You did what you had to do.
Harmless accidental prank.
Harmless accidental prank. I'm done. Good night, everyone. A 7 out of 10. That's all I have to say.
All right. That concludes this week's episode. If you want to see on the Patreon bonus content, we are going to review New York Fashion Week and some Toronto International Film Festival looks. If not, we will see you guys in the next one.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.